One of the things that we love to do at the VINwiki channel is occasionally appraise the car collections of various YouTubers and automotive influencers. And over the years, we've done a lot of them. But now we are back with a response to our appraisal because I guess I ruffled some feathers while we appraised for the second time Freddie Tavarish's collection and Tyler's collection from Hoovies Garage. And so they wanted to throw their 2 cents in. We had done appraisals a couple of years prior, and both of you had gotten considerably more cars, turned the fleet over somewhat, and I guess we might have missed a couple. So last month, me and John Picara of Picara Classic and Chris from Somo, Sotheby's Motorsports, ran through a whole bunch of cars in about an hour-long appraisal. What's that?
I said read between the lines.
Well,
on behalf of the conversion van enthusiast community, I am so insulted, which I think is what inspired all of this, because you really have no idea what these conversion vans are, what they're about. They're equivalent to like Cadillac Escalades, and they hold their value much better, much better. So your numbers were just mind-bogglingly stupid.
Tyler, if you can move just a little bit, is your Bugatti behind you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want people to know that this is angry Bugatti owner. He's angry about car values. Okay, that's the video today.
Of a van value.
Yes.
Well,
of a conversion van.
They put my express van, Ficara, and Chris at $25,000 and $15,000. Ed, it was low at $50,000 with Ed's. It was $10,000, $20,000 low. But the other one's like, what? There were two at Mecum, and they weren't. Mine's a 21 with a 6.6 liter, the latest, greatest, high horsepower, coolest van. And this was a 2014, just a few days ago. Shorty, mine's the long with the high roof and all the stuff. Sold for $38,000, a 2014 with a 5.3. Nobody cares about that, but still $38,000. And then a 2018, again, a short one, 6 liter, not a 6.6, $50,000 for a 2018 with some miles on it. And mine has like 6,000 miles. It's like brand new. So 5 seconds of Googling, they could have realized that made no sense at all. No sense at all.
Right. Very fair, and apologies for the offense. But how do you think we did on the rest of them? I mean, we gave you good money for the Veyron. We gave you strong money for a lot of the stuff. What do you think?
There was a nice number on the Veyron, but there was a little dig in the Veyron because somebody had to go, but I bought mine cheaper.
Well, you have to do that.
Just right place, right time. Right place, right time.
Bugatti owners have to one up themselves. Yeah.
I was working the trade, the bottom number, not the top number, and that's how Chicago Motor Cars, Perrin needed to do the deal because he was heavily invested in it with all the reconditioning costs that he did. So, yes, it was a higher number, but he gave me a lot for the Countach and the Z8 to where it made sense. But you had to frame it like, I'm the Schroeder.
Well, you did get a speed key with the original purchase, so there's that. And I'm glad to see you out enjoying the car. But yeah, I think at 1.6, that car, you can't replace it today for that. And there's nothing else out there for sale. So I think you did well. And
can you not get a Bugatti Veyron for $1.6 million?
Yeah, there's nothing out there. You search Auto Tempest, there is nothing below that.
That is so crazy because was it 3 years ago? They were all sub $1 million. I mean, listen, $1 million is a crazy amount of money to spend on a car. But to think that you could get this car for half that money, and that was the high watermark for those cars, just
spend
3 to 5 years
$1 million on a car that went to the bottom of the ocean.
Listen, man. Okay, it is early in the morning. We don't need to start this right now.
It's 11 o'clock. It's almost lunchtime.
It's early.
I felt like I was very generous on the P1 value.
Stones, glass houses. All right, let's talk about your values here.
Okay.
Yeah, you got. Well, I mean, your stuff was pretty on point, other than the express van, which was a little bit of a blind spot. I think they got yours pretty good.
Freddie, the Challenger Hellcat, the bids were, let's see, I'm going to the spreadsheet, $7,500 from Ed on my manual 2016 Challenger Hellcat, $5,000 from Ficara. Chris actually got pretty close at $38,000, but the average with the three of them was $16,800 because Ed thought any Challenger Hellcat is $7,500.
So it's almost racist if you think about it, you know? um, yeah, a Challenger the floor on those, I mean, we've talked about this. It's probably around 30 to 40 grand. It definitely is a blind spot. I don't know where you can get a $7,500 running Hellcat that has a title, by the way. I do know where you can get one, but they have some title
Right.
issues.
Yes.
But if
So
you get
actively
one like that,
stolen.
I'll buy 5 of them right now.
Right.
What did you pay for it, Tyler? How much is it really
Oh,
worth?
you know, it was I think 20, like 28ish with fees and shipping by the time it got to my house, and I knew it was bad. One owner, 4 accidents, but you know, the oil hadn't been changed for a long time, and it had the Hemi tick. So, unfortunately, I'm going to be every bit of like $45,000 into this thing, and it's not worth. It's probably worth 35. Let's be honest, as bad as the history is, but I had fun, I guess. I don't know what the car
So
wizard. The
are
car
we
wizard has
You
another
got to
Hawaiian
maintain the
vacation paid for. And
reputation.
are we
Now, did
judging
you
these
say that
cars
you go ahead, Freddie?
are we judging these cars based on how they were presented originally or how they are right now? Or like
Well,
the
oh,
when we get
vision
to
of the
yours,
car,
I feel
you
like
know?
we gave you a little bit of a benefit out of what they might become.
Oh, if that's the case, then we are way off on a lot of prices. But
then
like,
Freddie's
but
collection's worth $50 million.
I
Yeah,
know
jeez, come on.
Oh, are they?
we are an
That's
order of
under the
magnitude
assumption they
off.
reached the finish line, right?
The
Okay.
the saying my 740 IL that's almost a one owner with full service history, and the car is saying it's scrap. Are you kidding me? Scrap?
That was
Coming
a
from
little
Picara,
condescending. Not as
that's pretty
condescending as
fighting
negative
words.
$12,000 for your lyric. Did you seriously not lease that car?
No, no, it was used. So it's 1 year old. It was 10,000 miles. It had a minor on the Carfax, but it took so long to get the parts because it was like that fancy nose that's all light up that you know just they sat for a long time and depreciated. So with the Cybertruck trading, because they were giving me so much more than what it was worth, I got it for like 35 ish with a almost 60
Okay.
sticker new for a 1 year old car.
I mean, surely you can go lease one of these things new for $300 a month, and the payment on a $35,000 car be twice that.
I tried to, and it didn't lease all that well because it was, and then the $7,500 tax credit didn't work out, so it was more like $700 a month. And then I saw the used one, and it just seemed like a no-brainer with what they were going to give me for the Cybertruck, which they had for 4 or 5 months, and lost a lot. The dealer, yeah, lost a lot. Audi R8 pulling in. Sorry, a little bit of noise here.
That's okay.
Anyway,
So I am noticing a little more of a blind spot here, and that is the 2004 Mercedes Maybach 62.
oh
So
yeah,
that Ed's appraisal was 45, Bakara's was 39, and Chris's was 50, and the average is 44 grand. I'm looking on Auto Tempest right now, and a 2009 Maybach 62, the cheap one with 60,000 miles. I know yours was a little miley, but that is 102,999 asking price. The next one, 32,000 miles, 179,999. A 62 partition is a big deal. This was a $300,000 car probably 5, 6 years ago. The fact that you bought it, I mean, I know you got it crazy cheap, but like
yeah,
you
yeah. I mean,
cannot find a 62 partition for 40 grand. Like it does not exist.
I didn't necessarily disagree because the same was like my Ferrari 348 that I had with 100,000 miles. It compared to one with 30,000 miles, it's a different world. So you know, $40,000, $50,000. I didn't get that offended by it, but a partition, like they immediately get bought, and some dictator in overseas it takes them. They're gone. They're not in the U.S. as soon as they come up for sale. So that one being sold at a public auction, that was how I was able to get a hold of it. But
But
no, the
I
one that
mean,
bothered me more was, and April is going to come and scalp Ed, is the Grand Camino bid. So it's half Grand National, half El Camino, 305 under the hood. It ran through being a trailer twice and brought like I think 30, and I think whatever I paid for it 27,
mhm.
and the bids were 12,000, 10,000, and 10,000.
No comps for that one, but that's fair. I can see it being worth a little bit more. But I mean, look, we were just shy of $3 million of cars over at how many is it? About 30.
50% of that is one car.
Hey,
Yeah,
That's
car
yeah.
guy
insane.
math right there.
Everything else is just garbage.
A heavily loaned car. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's garbage. There's an SLR in there. There's a 599 gated conversion. I mean, the Grand National, you know, I think you put that one a little bit high in my
Listen, this is
opinion.
coming from the king
But
of garbage here, so I'm not, you know.
okay, well, let's go to your list, Freddie. Let's go over there and
Oh,
yeah, what were you upset about?
I was upset about a lot. Okay, so again, if we're going by the way the cars are now, I wasn't super offended at the Lamborghini Aventador S Roadster because you guys said 275, 250, 250. Now, the 2018 Aventador S Roadster, the cheapest one you can get right now. I'm just going to look it up on Auto Tempest right now, just so we are
Is it
100%
stripped?
aligned. It is stripped now,
Does it have
but
a
I
bad
have
motor?
but what I'm saying, like right now, that's probably what it's worth. But
Okay.
with a body, let's see where Aventador, advanced search, minimum year 2018. Wow, Auto Tempest sure has a lot of options that you can
There's
search
there's a
through.
lot for sale. Everybody wants to get rid of them right now. Yes.
Finding them all. All the cars, one search.
All the cars, one search. All right, so we have one for 340, 359, 399. So what I've noticed is the more expensive ones are roadsters. So the 399, that's the first roadster. If you wanted to get a coupe, then you know it's cheaper. The roadsters are 400. But again, that's with it finished and everything, and mine does have a rebuilt title. So
Oh,
if
there is that part of it.
there
Rebuilt
is, but
title,
but
and
you're not.
they
It's
were 400. That's the price that they still want. That they're not coming down to reality with the ones that actually transact and the ones that sit for sale.
those are the
That's
cheap. I'm looking at them right now. Those
but
are
they're
the
not.
cheap ones. The asking
They're
price
still
can go up
listed
to
for
five
sale.
they're
hundred.
still listed. The other, I mean, usually when they're in about 50 grand lower than that is when they actually transact pretty quickly in a week or so. Yeah.
Right. That okay. All right.
And Auto
So
Tempest has recently added the ability to see price changes over time on these listings. So as
yeah,
you browse through Aventadors, you are going to see a lot of markdowns over the last 6 months. But usually, I would say that a rebuilt title is worth 60% of what a normal version of the car would be. So that puts it in the mid
60%,
twos. Yes.
60%. Wow.
Well, because generally they cannot be financed, even though you find your ways, Freddie. And yeah, I mean, obviously, if you got the chance to buy one with a clean history, you're going to pay more.
Yeah.
Making
Well,
friends
listen,
with
I wasn't
grandmas at the
super
Legends to get
offended at that.
car money is not a wise financial. Anyway, that's an
Uh,
unusual thing. But Freddie's good at charming those grandmas to get Lambo money.
I am. Yeah, the Villages does have a lot of me around it. Okay, so the McLaren prices, the 675 LT was a little low, but again, I there's no real comps for this because again, rebuilt title, but it's roof scoop car and everything's documented and it has every bell and whistle and built
Well,
engine and blah
everything's
blah blah.
documented, all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. But I mean, like,
Cool,
it's
cool. Yes,
arguably the most famous 675 LT in the world.
it is really
So I
cool.
so I
I
don't
love what you did
know.
with it.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't know if we add any of that or we subtract, our ownership from that. I don't know if that is a plus or minus. So again, I wasn't super offended. The 911 GT3 though, that's really low because it does have a clean title. Now it was accident damaged, but again, we did everything as per
How does it
Porsche.
have a clean title?
That
That's a
doesn't make
good
any sense at
question.
all.
Did they just
Unclear.
forget? Did they
It
I
forget to
was
think they
put a
just
stolen
salvage
by
forgot.
on
an
it?
insurance company.
No, we just went through we just literally just bought it off Copart and a clean title came through the mail.
Well, how about that?
Yeah,
How
so
about
clean
that?
title. Like right now, I
In the
mean,
same way something else doesn't have a certificate of destruction anymore, right? These
yeah,
things
yeah.
happen.
Well, no, I mean that's a little different. There's some soap and water involved in that. But no, this is totally legit. Everything's good. I'm trying to see 911 GT3. And this is 2022. And I do have to say, since I'm a Porsche owner, it is one of two paint to sample ultraviolet. So I have to do that.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, one with 13,000 miles, which is more than I have. is 227 asking price. But then if you want a 6-speed, there's 230, 240. Like you're not getting them for less than 200. Even if they're not transacting, which I mean, they did make a few of them, but they're really good cars, and this is a good car. We went to Champion Porsche and got a Manti Racing alignment and all this stuff. Like it's a very solid car. Doesn't have any issues at all. And went to Porsche. They gave the car a clean bill of health. So I don't know why you wouldn't. And especially with the history of the car being kind of sort of famous.
I probably would instantly write a check for 150 on that one. Yeah,
Yeah, so would
might
I.
be a little,
Yeah.
it might be a little low, but I can't, obviously.
Yeah, I
Fair
think
enough.
to the
And
right.
I
I
mean,
mean, to the
obviously,
right
there is a
buyer.
provenance bump on some of these cars. I mean, the fact that they are so famous through multiple channels, I think that does matter. I mean, in my experience, it probably can be a 10, 15, 20% bump. In some cases, like the Apollo 911, I think it doubles the value of the car. To the right fan, I think somebody loves you enough to pay that kind of money. I mean, the guy that bought your Diablo Roadster lives nearby and could not be any happier to have paid way over the market to get it. And so, good on you.
Now, okay, so that's one thing. The thing that I was like really kind of salty about is this 1993 Mazda RX-7. Now, this is the car that we used for Car Trek, our import cars.
Does it still
Um,
have the 40-year-old virgin Japanese wet dream
yes,
motif?
it does. Yeah, the anime convention explosion. Yes,
Is
yes.
is the is the angry Dorito still rotten under the hood?
No, it runs pretty good. I actually do have a new engine for it, but it runs and drives. So here's the thing: even with the crappy anime, the age of the anime maybe in question. But like the anime stuff on the car and the parts and whatever, whether it's driving or not, the floor on one of these cars is 20 grand. Like if you were to get a shell with no engine, it's $20,000. It's crazy to get to find a
Why?
running and driving FD RX-7, and like if you could pay 9 grand for one for a running FD right hand drive or left, like right hand drive is a cheap one, but like if you can get one for 9 grand, I'd buy 5 of them right now. Like there's no reality in which that's right. This car is realistically worth 20 to 30. I mean, with all its stuff, because even its crappy bodywork, those body panels are very hard to come by, and they are like apparently they're in style. They're a really rare JDM. It's called a Ari Amamiya kit, and they're real parts. And apparently that kit right now is like $8,000. So with the fender mirrors and all that stuff. So that kit is really expensive. And then the car itself has appreciated quite a bit. So I would modify that to again 20 grand is probably realistic for that car, but like 20 to 25 is that's where the market would be.
Who would
Okay.
have thought? I don't think I could look at myself in the mirror if I spent $20,000 for that vehicle.
So
Uh-huh.
But
a $5,000 difference is what you're kind of asking for when they appraised your P1 uh, pretty generously, I think.
You think pretty generously?
Yeah, for its
So
current state.
again, right now, I don't know what this. We are if it's being appraised at what it's going to be in the future, then I don't know. All bets are off. It might be yeah, multiple millions of dollars. I don't know. I'd like it to be that. But right now, I think it's probably worth that just because I've done some title work. And I've taken all the sand out, at least most of it. I've done quite a bit of media on the car, and we've done a lot on the car. So I think just in that alone, the story of that car is probably worth what you guys put in. So I wasn't, I think that was a pretty good price. The
Just some assembly required.
A lot of assembly required. A lot of really hard assembly required. I do like Ed's estimate for the '03 Lamborghini Murcielago, and I can see that there's a little bit of that what Tyler calls a pump and dump. If I had a Veyron, I guarantee you that would be worth $3.1 million. Because 300
Well,
grand
I
for
mean,
that car is that's a lot. That's I mean, listen, I love Murcielagos, or as Ed said, Murcielago. I love them just as much as anybody does. They're wonderful cars, but that car needs everything. It'll be worth that and maybe more when I finish it, but that is a long road ahead. So I think 100 grand is a little light. I would probably put it at like 120 to 150 if you're being, generous.
They were pretty nice to you on your Supra.
Oh god,
I,
yeah.
I think overall
That's a
it
big
wasn't too bad
spread
for
though.
you.
It's a big spread because the Supra. Well, which Supra? Because
what do
we
we
have
say
the
for the blue one?
Your white one, your baby.
yeah.
70 for the white one and 55 for the blue one.
I actually think the blue one is worth the same because we spent more time. We have custom interior in that one, and we have custom wheels made for that car. I like the blue better than the white. I think it's a better spec. And also, I mean, it went to SEMA and like it got like, award for best interior and all that stuff. So like I think it's probably worth more than that. I've gotten
Ed and I have been
it's
we're in the
my
car business for a long time, and this just feels like every time somebody comes in with a trade-in and
Mhm.
it
SEMA award winner.
wants double what it's worth, and then gives you this story, and you're just like,
Well, so
okay.
so the good thing about it is the Blue Super is not my car. So we gave it to Rex. We gave it to my detailing friend Rex, and he told me that he had somebody offer him 100 for the car. It's crazy that these cars are worth that now. I remember when we were doing Car Trek, when I said I paid something like 23 grand for my car, and then you guys didn't believe me, and you said, well, you spent more than that, blah blah. But like realistically, that's where those cars were, and that's where we are now. They just blew up. I think they softened a little bit, but I wasn't I wasn't offended at those prices. Um, yeah, everything else seems to be all right, except for like the LaFerrari, that wood model. I don't know what is that worth because I got it for free. Tim Schmee thinks seems to think that's the right buyer. It could be worth 100 or 150. I'd love for that to be the case. I don't know. I
What are you
mean,
going to do with it?
I'm going to paint it what is the paint called on a Ferrari? Like it's a Rosso, is it Scuderia or
You want to just normal Ferrari red?
yeah, like whatever the color of that car was, like whatever the resale red version of that car
Yeah,
is.
just
So
Rosso
I'll just
Corsa.
make that and then have that as a piece for some rich guy to put on his wall, and then charge him 150 grand or whatever because it's a one of one. It's a one of one. It's a paint to sample. We sampled some paint and we put it on there. So, um, yeah, that's
Whatever.
the
Rust-Oleum was close to Rosso Corsa.
Rosso Corsa. There we go.
There we go.
But
So
I
we weren't too
honestly,
far off.
overall, it wasn't. It's not too bad. The Chrysler Pacifica. I mean, again, this is if you're going for future values versus right now values, because I paid 11 grand for the van. I originally bought this van to put a Hellcat engine into it. So I have not done that
Which
yet.
I think Rich Rebuilds was able to do in a weekend, right?
Yes, yeah, he was. So what he did was he got a Dodge Caravan, and he took the bottom part off, and then he took the top part off a Hellcat, and then he glued the two together, and then now you have something that is quite literally a death trap. So like I listen, if you want to call that a minivan, you can call it whatever you want. If I had wheels, I'd be a wagon. So I mean, I guess that would be fine. But I'm gonna go a little bit a different way, and also I love Rich. I'm just busting him up a little bit. But yeah, I think I think you guys did okay, other than the RX-7 and some other stuff.
Well, I have to say that when I came down there for the Wrenchworks makeup show, I was a little bit surprised. Some of the cars I thought were a bit more done, like the E46 M3 and the R8, and they are very much not done. I noticed that they were still much assembly required. So maybe to get to all of these values, we might be a few $100,000 with somebody's labor and time away from fully realizing the potential there.
Well, here's the thing, but that's my labor and time, so that is that's worthless. So I
I heard it was
figure we
worth
can just take that
$10,000
we
a
can take that
day.
as a given, you know, take that as I'm gonna do it anyway, and that's not gonna add any cost to the price of the car. So whatever the price is there, we could just leave those there, you know.
That's that's good mechanic logic because
Yep.
all mechanics cars are always done and in perfect running order.
Well, you know what, man? You know, you just asked me on here, and we're just having a good time.
Well, I appreciate the feedback, and again, apologies for the hurt feelings. I'm very proud of both of you, and I love both of the collections, and I can't wait to see what they look like a year from now.
I love you
Absolutely.
too, Ed.
Yeah. Mwah.
Mwah. Excellent.
That was really awkward, even though we're thousands of miles away from each other.
Right now, I want you to click the link in the description below to find your next car on Auto Tempest. Whatever it is you're looking for, Auto Tempest is the most powerful way to shop for your next car. They compile all the results from all the major listing sites into one place, and now they've got a new feature that I love. You can see all of the historical price changes that a car has had since it first showed up for sale online. That gives me more power to be an even shrewder negotiator, understanding exactly how desperate the seller probably is to get rid of this car. So check them out now at the link in the description below to thank them for their ongoing support of VINwiki and find your next car on Auto Tempest.